Kevin De Bruyne's story doesn't begin with applause. It begins in the quiet moments no one remembers: empty pitches, cold mornings, and a boy who saw football as a puzzle long before he saw it as a dream. Born in Drongen, Belgium, De Bruyne grew up without the chaos that usually surrounds prodigies. There were no viral clips, no early hype. What defined his childhood wasn't spectacle, but repetition. He trained with purpose, not flair. Even then, his relationship with the ball was analytical. He wasn't asking how to beat a defender. He was asking when and why. At youth level, coaches quickly noticed something unusual. Kevin wasn't chasing the ball. He was positioning himself where the next action would happen. He scanned constantly, adjusting his body shape before receiving passes, already planning 2 moves ahead. To many, he looked slow. In reality, he was processing faster than everyone else. At Genk, that intelligence found a stage. During the 2010-11 season, still a teenager, De Bruyne became the tactical center of a championship-winning side. He wasn't the loud leader, he was the organizer. Operating between lines, drifting wide, dropping deep, he dictated rhythm through positioning and timing. Genk won the Belgian Pro League, and De Bruyne finished the season with double-digit goals and assists, earning domestic recognition and European attention. But even as success arrived, misunderstanding followed him. His personality was described as distant. His direct communication was labeled arrogance. De Bruyne didn't hide his frustration when standards dropped, and that honesty made him uncomfortable for some. He wasn't antisocial, he was obsessed with excellence. When Chelsea signed him in 2012, it looked like the natural next step, but the Premier League didn't offer him clarity, it offered confusion, constant rotation, tactical uncertainty, short appearances without continuity. De Bruyne was asked to fit into roles that limited his vision and decision-making. He wasn't failing on the pitch, he was invisible within the structure. That period tested him more than any defeat ever could. Alone in a foreign environment, labeled expendable, he faced the footballer's most dangerous moment: self-doubt. Many players change who they are to survive. De Bruyne didn't. He refined instead. He studied games. He analyzed positioning. He learned what he would never compromise again. The narrative around him hardened quickly. Too quiet, not physical enough, not Premier League material. But those judgments ignored a simple truth: football intelligence ages better than hype. When De Bruyne finally left Chelsea, it wasn't an escape, it was a reset. A conscious decision to choose a league and a system that valued thinking over noise. He wasn't chasing redemption, he was searching for alignment. And with that decision, Kevin De Bruyne unknowingly stepped onto the path that would transform him from a misunderstood talent into the central mind of modern football. Germany didn't attempt to reinvent Kevin De Bruyne. It trusted him, and that trust changed everything. After the frustration of England, De Bruyne arrived in the Bundesliga, carrying something many players never recover from: rejection. But instead of hiding, Germany placed him at the center of responsibility. At Werder Bremen, on loan, he wasn't just another young talent. He was a decision maker. From his first matches, the difference was clear. De Bruyne was allowed to interpret space freely. He drifted wide to overload flanks, dropped deep to escape pressure, and constantly scanned before receiving the ball. Every movement had purpose. Every pass carried intention. He wasn't chasing touches, he was shaping sequences. Bremen gave him minutes, Wolfsburg gave him a platform. At Wolfsburg, De Bruyne entered an environment built for precision and transition. The team played vertically, but intelligently, and De Bruyne became its brain. During the 2014-15 season, he delivered one of the most complete creative campaigns in Bundesliga history. 10 goals, 21 assists, countless key passes, and total control of tempo. He wasn't simply assisting goals, he was engineering them. What separated De Bruyne from other playmakers was his understanding of cause and effect. He knew how one movement could distort an entire defensive structure. He slowed the game not by stopping it, but by forcing defenders to hesitate. He accelerated it not with pace, but with timing. Physically, Germany transformed him. He became stronger, more resilient, more balanced in duels. His long-range shooting became a genuine threat. His crossing, once predictable, became deadly. He learned to strike the ball with minimal backlift, making his intentions unreadable. Mentally, De Bruyne matured into a leader, not through charisma, but through consistency. Teammates trusted him because he never wasted possession. Coaches trusted him because he respected tactical discipline while exploiting freedom. Opponents feared him because mistakes against De Bruyne were punished instantly. Germany gave him something England never did: continuity. Match after match, responsibility after responsibility, De Bruyne refined his identity. He wasn't a classic number 10. He wasn't a winger. He wasn't a deep midfielder. He was a connector, linking phases, manipulating space, deciding rhythm. By the end of his Wolfsburg era, the narrative had completely reversed. The player once considered unsuitable for elite football was now being discussed as one of Europe's most intelligent creators. Clubs weren't asking if he could adapt anymore. They were asking who could afford him. And as the football world turned its attention back to Kevin De Bruyne, one club understood exactly what he was becoming and how to use him. That club was Manchester City. Pep Guardiola didn't sign Kevin De Bruyne to decorate his system. He signed him to think for it. When De Bruyne arrived at Manchester City in 2015, the Premier League was still adjusting to Guardiola's ideas. Possession had structure, pressing had purpose. Space was no longer accidental, it was manufactured. And at the heart of that complexity stood De Bruyne. From the beginning, Guardiola identified what others had missed. De Bruyne wasn't a traditional playmaker who needed constant touches. He was a problem solver, a player who understood patterns, recognized weaknesses, and acted before opponents could react. Under Guardiola, De Bruyne's positional intelligence reached surgical precision. He played as an advanced midfielder, a right-sided interior, a false winger, and even deeper when control was required. His role changed constantly, but his influence never did. He mastered half spaces, timing his runs not for visibility, but for maximum damage. Statistically, his dominance became impossible to ignore. Multiple Premier League titles, repeated Playmaker of the Season awards, consistent double-digit assists and goals. But numbers alone couldn't explain his value. De Bruyne became the player who dictated when City accelerated and when they suffocated opponents with possession. His passes didn't just break lines, they destroyed defensive organization. Guardiola refined De Bruyne's decision-making, but he never restricted it. Instead, he gave him principles: occupy space, create superiority, release at the perfect moment. De Bruyne absorbed those ideas instantly. His famous crosses from deep positions weren't hopeful. They were calculated. His long-range shots weren't desperate. They were triggered by defensive hesitation. Perhaps his most underrated evolution was defensive intelligence. De Bruyne learned pressing triggers, counter-pressing angles, and recovery positioning. He wasn't just creating goals. He was protecting control. His work rate became a weapon, allowing City to dominate territory even without the ball. In the biggest matches, De Bruyne became Guardiola's extension on the pitch, adjusting tempo, shifting shape, leading by example. And when City finally lifted the Champions League, it wasn't just a tactical victory. It was the validation of a vision years in the making. Through injuries, rotations, and constant tactical evolution, De Bruyne remained the constant. Not because he was the loudest leader, but because he was the smartest one. In Guardiola's machine, Kevin De Bruyne wasn't just a cog. He was the central processor. Great players are remembered for moments. Exceptional players are remembered for influence. But the rarest players are remembered for how they made football think differently. Kevin De Bruyne belongs to that last category. His legacy is not built on a single iconic goal or a defining final. It is built on years of sustained dominance, on matches quietly controlled, on opponents slowly dismantled, on systems bent to his understanding of space and time. De Bruyne didn't change football with spectacle. He changed it with clarity. As the years passed, injuries attempted to interrupt his rhythm, muscle setbacks, long absences, doubts about longevity. For many players, physical decline forces reinvention. For De Bruyne, reinvention became another expression of intelligence. He ran less, but arrived better. He touched the ball fewer times, but made every touch decisive. His game became more economical and more devastating. What made De Bruyne timeless was adaptability. As fullbacks inverted, as pressing systems evolved, As space became tighter than ever, he remained relevant, not because he was faster or stronger than before, but because he always understood where football was going next. He aged with the game, not against it. His influence stretched far beyond Manchester City. Across Europe, midfielders were redefined. The modern creator was no longer just an artist. He was a strategist, a player capable of defending, pressing, finishing, and deciding under extreme pressure. Coaches didn't just admire De Bruyne, they designed profiles to replicate him. With Belgium, his role carried the same burden. Surrounded by world-class talent, De Bruyne was consistently the reference point. The player expected to provide answers when structure collapsed. Even without a major international trophy, his impact on Belgium's golden generation remains unquestionable. He was its compass. What truly elevates De Bruyne's legacy is the absence of ego. No theatrics, no obsession with individual recognition. His brilliance existed for the benefit of the collective. Football, for him, was never about expression alone. It was about execution. Years from now, when the numbers fade and the systems evolve again, Kevin De Bruyne will still be studied, not just by fans, but by coaches, analysts, and players searching for understanding. His clips will be paused, replayed, dissected, not to admire flair, but to decode intelligence. Because Kevin De Bruyne didn't just play football, he organized it. And at Untold Football, that is the story we believe deserves to be told. The stories behind the minds that shaped the game quietly, relentlessly, brilliantly. If this journey through Kevin De Bruyne's career resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to Untold Football, and stay with us for more untold stories of the game's greatest thinkers. Because football isn't only about goals, it's about control,